Taylor Swift knows Ed Kelce will be first in line to buy. 1989. Taylor's version. On Friday. Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce break NFL WAG curse. Jessica Simpson. Carrie Underwood once blamed for losses. He added, "I mean, she's been, performing for huge crowds for over half her life. I think they're very supportive of each other. Which is key." Taylor Swift feels protected and cherished by true gentleman, Travis Kelce. Expert also appreciated how Swift is dedicated to her career, and said his favorite song was You Belong With Me. So I think they're both very supportive. A new report on the number of deaths from euthanasia in Canada revealed the procedure has exponentially risen in use the last several years, accounting for more than 4% of all deaths in the country in 2022. The report stated, in 2022, there were 13,241 MAID provisions reported in Canada, accounting for 4.1% of all deaths in Canada. Canadian police charge man with 12 additional counts of aiding suicide for selling lethal substances. The report added the total number of euthanasia deaths in Canada since MAID was legalized in 2016 amounts to 44,958 deaths. Around 63% of MAID procedures cited cancer as the underlying medical condition, which is a decrease from a 69.1% high in 2020. Other underlying medical conditions cited were cardiovascular conditions, 18.8%, other conditions, 14.9%, respiratory conditions, 13.2%, and neurological conditions, 12.6%. Rep. Kevin McCarthy, R. Caliph, is the most prolific fundraiser in House Republican history, and his replacement as Speaker will have big shoes to fill. And he personally hauled in record fundraising in the last election cycle to help Republicans win back the House majority. The three lawmakers who were each nominated by House Republicans to succeed McCarthy: House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, and House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, all had plenty of fundraising chops. For House Republican fundraiser last cycle, hauling in more than $14 million, mostly through small-dollar donors. And Emmer, who steered the NRCC the past two cycles as the GOP took back the House majority, is also known as a prolific fundraiser. North Korea is accusing Israel of masterminding the ongoing violence between themselves and Hamas, and claiming the U.S. as an accomplice. North Korean media accused Israel of responsibility for the recent explosion near Al-Ali Baptist Hospital in the Gaza Strip. Thousands of remote workers for U.S. companies sent wages to North Korea to fund weapons programs. FBI says, "I was outraged by the bombing of the hospital yesterday." Russia has boasted similar rhetoric to North Korea, blaming U.S. interventionism for the terrorism and violence plaguing the region. Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un have significantly strengthened relations between the countries, most recently with a rare diplomatic envoy from the Hermit Kingdom. Vermont State Police on Wednesday found two bodies in a wooded area off a rural road in Eden as they investigate the disappearance of two 21-year-old Massachusetts men. Police said, "Right now we're not able to make any identifications or any assumptions." Maj. Dan Trudeau, commander of the Vermont State Police's Criminal Division, said during an afternoon press conference, "Police expect to get a cause and manner of the deaths as well as identities of the victims on Thursday, after the medical examiner processes the bodies." Trudeau said, MAINE authorities identify person of interest in deadly shooting rampage. Police have a number of suspects and people of interest in mind, Trudeau said. This is kind of case that involves quite a number of people from the northern Vermont area. Prosecutors said Douglas killed Brandee K. Douglas, 38, and Lauren M. Yelle, 43, of Louisville, Kentucky, in April 2022. Lewiston, Maine mass shooting. At least 22 dead as manhunt intensifies for person of interest Robert Card. WHO is Robert Card? Maine authorities identify person of interest in deadly shooting rampage. Investigators did not believe there was any connection between Yelle and Cherok or Brandee Douglas. They said Yelle was a customer at the gas station and was shot walking to his vehicle. Floyd Superior Court Judge Carrie Stiller gave Douglas the maximum sentence, calling his crimes the worst of the worst. Continue reading. Boots on the ground. Hamas hostage count rises as Israel pulls off most daring raid yet for next stages. Continue reading. Concerning, Senator says FBI received criminal information from over 40 confidential sources on Joe Biden. Hunter James. Continue reading. Hall pass. Mom's rage as high school graduation no longer requires students know how to read. Continue reading. POLITICSDENIED. Judge rejects Trump team's requests for immediate verdict in fraud trial after Cohen testimony. Continue reading. Change America needs. RFK's long history of praising Hillary Clinton resurfaces during independent WH run. 20-year-old Isabel Ayala is suing her doctors along with the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, for pushing and conducting gender-affirming medicalization on her as a child. Giovanni Ayala is an unfortunate victim of a collection of actors who prioritized politics and ideology over children's safety, health, and well-being. At 14, Ayala was convinced by doctors to start testosterone and other hormone therapy to begin transitioning to a boy. DETRANSITIONER warns gender ideology could have long-term ramifications for kids. They cannot consent if procedure was likely motivated, according to the lawsuit, by the 2018 AAP policy statement that promoted guidance to help children receive gender-affirming care. Fox News Digital reached out to the American Academy of Pediatrics for a comment but has yet to receive a response. 8 textbook publishers have reportedly withdrawn their books from consideration to be used in Oklahoma schools ahead of an upcoming vote by the state's textbook committee. 17 companies initially asked to be considered in this year's math textbook adoption process, according to records the Oklahoma State Department of Education provided. Oklahoma lawmakers passed a law regarding subject matter standards in 2020, requiring an extra review by experts before a textbook is recommended to the state textbook committee, a process they said can filter out textbooks of poor quality or questionable content. Education Department spokesman Dan Isett said in a statement to Fox News Digital, Superintendent Walters is committed to eliminating woke indoctrination from Oklahoma schools. As a result, the textbook adoption process is different from in years past because it includes an extra layer of review. Israeli troops and tanks conducted a ground raid in northern Gaza overnight into Thursday, Israel Defense Forces said, attacking Hamas targets. The operation was meant to prepare the battlefield for an expected ground operation in the Palestinian territory after a 2-week-long airstrike campaign, a military spokesman said. The Israeli military has urged Palestinian civilians to flee areas in the Gaza Strip where Hamas has placed infrastructure to fire rockets at Israel. The rising death toll will increase if Israel begins a full-scale ground operation in Gaza. Click to get the Fox News app. The Israeli military remains poised for a ground invasion of Gaza at any moment, though plans for such an operation have been delayed. Before she received an explanation, Stewart said her son Brandon had jumped out of the passenger seat, pleading and crying for the officers to leave his mother alone. Share this article. Share after exiting her car. Stewart said she started crying and recalled repeating, "Are you guys serious?" Stewart said officers asked her to walk toward them backward. Through tears, he told them that his mom was only driving him to football practice. Stewart said, after officers realized that Brandon, who is about 3'10" and 56 pounds, wasn't the suspect, they explained the misunderstanding and apologized. Stewart said she watched Brandon at practice from her car, wondering how he was mistaken for a suspect.